Hello, my amazing listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in to Part 2. I'm thrilled to continue this story with you. Janelle Thompson, a driven CEO, thought she knew everything about her employees until a late-night encounter with Dwayne, the quiet janitor, made her question her assumptions. Drawn to his quiet resilience and discovering his hidden struggles, Janelle now faces an inner conflict. Should she keep her distance or follow her curiosity and risk the professional boundaries she's set? Meanwhile, Dwayne, unaware of her growing interest, finds himself drawn even closer to her. For both, this connection may change everything. Janelle arrived at the office the next morning, her mind still lingering on Dwayne and the quiet strength he seemed to carry. It unsettled her, this feeling of being so affected by someone she barely knew. It's just concern for an employee, she told herself, trying to justify her reaction, but even she didn't fully believe it. When she entered her office, she found herself glancing around, almost hoping to catch another glimpse of him. Around mid-morning, Janelle saw Dwayne in the hallway, carrying a stack of papers and supplies, focused and quiet. Something inside her urged her to say something, to reach out, but as she approached him, she felt the weight of her position, the need to maintain professionalism, the invisible wall that always seemed to separate her from others in the company. She took a steadying breath. "Dwayne," she called softly. He looked up, surprised, and his gaze softened as he saw her. "Yes, Janelle?" The sound of her name in his voice made her heart flutter slightly, but she steadied herself. "If there's anything you ever need, any resources to help with, family matters, please don't hesitate to reach out. The company has programs and I just want you to know we're here to support you." A flicker of gratitude crossed his face, but it was quickly replaced by his usual calm expression. "Thank you, Janelle," he replied, his voice sincere. "That means more than you know." There was a brief, loaded silence, both of them wanting to say more, but neither willing to cross the unspoken boundary between them. Janelle nodded and continued down the hallway, but she felt Dwayne's gaze linger on her, a reminder of the connection simmering between them. Later that day, as Dwayne was going about his work, he found himself thinking of Janelle's offer. Her concern had felt personal, genuine, like she saw him as more than just an employee. It stirred something in him, something he couldn't ignore. As he took a break, he pulled out a photo of his mother, Miss Joy, from his wallet. She looked so happy and healthy in the photo, a far cry from her current state. Memories of her sacrifices flooded his mind. Her late nights working multiple jobs to keep food on the table, her constant encouragement that he could achieve great things. He'd taken this job not because it was what he dreamed of, but because he needed to support her. But now, thoughts of Janelle kept interrupting his focus. Her quiet concern, her steady gaze, they lingered with him like a haunting melody. "It's impossible," he reminded himself. "She's my boss. She's in a different world." But deep down, he wondered if maybe, just maybe, she saw him for who he truly was. That evening, Janelle worked late again, and as she was finishing up, she heard a soft knock on her office door. She looked up to see Dwayne standing there, his posture hesitant, but his eyes earnest. "I didn't mean to interrupt," he said, voice soft. "It's all right, Dwayne," she replied, surprised by how natural his presence felt. "What can I do for you?" He took a step inside, glancing around before speaking. "I just wanted to say thank you for earlier." He paused, as if trying to find the right words. "I've been trying to keep things together for my mother, and I appreciate your kindness more than I can say." Janelle felt her heart ache at the quiet vulnerability in his voice. She took a small step closer, her voice equally soft. I know what it's like to want to protect family, she said, surprising herself with the admission. She hadn't opened up about her own struggles to anyone in years. Dwayne's gaze softened. You've been through something like this? She nodded, glancing down briefly. My mother. She fought for years. I spent many late nights by her side, trying to be strong for her. For a moment, they were silent, standing in the quiet of her office, connected by an unspoken understanding. Their worlds felt closer, less divided by the glass walls of their professional lives. Their hands brushed briefly, sending a spark between them, and both of them felt the weight of the moment. But just as quickly, Dwayne pulled his hand back, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. I should get back to work, he murmured, a hint of regret in his voice. Janelle nodded, but she felt the impact of his presence linger long after he left. She watched him go, her mind swirling with emotions she couldn't name. The next morning, as Dwayne started his shift, he was approached by the company's HR representative. Dwayne, she began with a smile, I wanted to let you know we're expanding opportunities in facilities management, and Janelle suggested you for the role. It's more responsibility, but we think you're perfect for it. Dwayne felt a mix of shock and confusion. He hadn't expected anything like this. His heart raced as he realized that Janelle had advocated for him personally, giving him a chance to grow. As he walked back to his duties, he spotted Janelle from a distance, watching him with an approving nod. But just as a spark of hope lit up within him, he overheard two employees whispering nearby, their words stinging. Did you hear about the janitor? Janelle's just trying to make herself look good, acting like she's helping him out. Poor guy probably thinks it's genuine. Dwayne's heart sank, a wave of doubt creeping in. Is that all this is? He wondered. Am I just her project? Janelle notices Dwayne's sudden distance and can't ignore the ache it leaves. She finds herself at a crossroads, reach out to him, risking her professional boundaries even further, or let him go, knowing he may never understand her true intentions. Meanwhile, Dwayne struggles with his own doubts, questioning if his growing feelings for Janelle are as impossible as they seem, or if they're worth fighting for. Both Janelle and Dwayne are now forced to confront the boundaries they've lived by and the risks they've avoided. For Dwayne, it's the fear of being seen as less than, and for Janelle, the fear of stepping beyond her role as CEO. But when the heart is involved, are these boundaries worth keeping? In part 3, the connection they've both tried to ignore will be impossible to deny. Can love break through the walls they've built, or will their differences prove too great to overcome? Do you think Dwayne should trust Janelle's intentions, or are his doubts justified?